Welcome everyone to another video, and in this video we are going to be taking a look at my Ferocious Cup tournament run. I'm not going to tell you the record, but you probably already know if you've been following me on Twitter. But my team consists of Alolan Ninetales, Umbreon, Nidoqueen, Vaporeon, Minun, and B-Barrel. To be honest, I really like this team, except for I didn't really like using Minun. Whenever I use it in practice, I felt really uncomfortable about using it, so I would actually probably leave it off my team, or trade it off with Skunk Tank, for example, or even Raichu. I would feel a little bit more comfortable with that. So that's kind of a change I wish I would have made, but I didn't. My first opponent is PSE 120 Hour. This is one of his first tournaments, so be nice to him. This wasn't that competitive of a match, so we're just gonna quickly. I should have put it at like 2 times speed or something, because it wasn't. It's gonna go a little further. So we lead off Umbreon versus Umbreon. He has a shiny version, which sometimes the shiny version tells you that you have Last Resort, but he actually doesn't. He actually has a Dark Pulse, which is fine. So I do want to, kind of, in this case, like Umbreon is a very safe Pokemon against his team because she doesn't have a Charm user. Probably his best counter to Umbreon is either Nidoking with Fury Cutter, or even a Pillow Swine, since those avalanches would do a lot of damage. But yeah, this is like, anyways, if you guys want to skip to the next round, go ahead, because yeah, this wasn't that competitive a match. And I maybe overfarmed there, which is fine. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of pressure on him. And then as well, like, he doesn't really have like a great check to waters as well, besides Umbreon. So after I take it as Umbreon, like I'm running double waters in the back. They're pretty safe in the back. So he switches out to B-Barrel. And I'm going to hit this foul play. And then I think I tried to hit another foul play before exiting. A little bit of lag there, but quite all right. Getting like not quite lag. Is just like this is like visual glitch, so I'm like not really sure what's happening. So I'm gonna let this go, and I'm gonna farm down with one of my water types. In this case, B-Barrel itself. Switch window tried to come up for no reason, and he's gonna come in with Nidoking, but yeah, this is like obviously not a very good situation for him at all. He decides not to shield. Again, this match wasn't that competitive. It is one of his first tournaments. Just trying to have a good time. And there you go. You know what? I'm going to skip all his matches because they were not very competitive. So I'm going to go ahead to go into and there's nothing really much to learn in these matches, to be honest. So I'm going to switch over to, and he had like right on with Megahorn, which actually was pretty sweet. So I'm just going to skip over to the end. He actually had a Furt here. I'm like, actually, we'll just go to the end here. I think there's like another, a little bit of battles. Yeah, about another 20 seconds of battles. Anyways, I thought he was going to Hyper Beam me here, but he actually didn't have a Hyper Beam ready. He only had Brick Break, which is a little bit unfortunate. So, anyways, that was my first round opponent. Nothing really too much to learn there. So, I am going to go to my second round opponent, which is King Duck's Pool. He's the one that actually helped me with the Piggyback 2.0, or at least encouraged me to look into it. So we lead Alolan Ninetales. And this is how I like to play the mirror. It's a little, I find it more consistent. So as long as I hit the charm while they do the charge move. So I hit the charm. So now I'm going to shield. And then I'm going to go, and then I win switch advantage. I am down a shield. And then he goes into Heat More. And so now I have a choice of what I want to go into. Okay, I'm going to go into Vaporeon because Vaporeon is very good against Heatmore. As you can see, those water guns are just absolutely chunking down on Heatmore. And now that his and this is probably gonna be a Thunder Punch, but it's quite alright. No stab, Thunder Punch still does a lot, and because I know he has his Charm User is gone, my Umbreon is gonna be super safe. So I'm gonna hit this Foul Play, which is not gonna KO, and he's going to hit me with another Brick Break or Wild Charge. It's a Brick Break. And I'm going to just charge up a little bit of energy. And able to take it out. And then his Heatmore doesn't have very much left in the back. In theory, to be honest, I could have tanked this Power Up Punch, but there's like no point in really risking it. So I'm just going to go for the Foul Play. And if that didn't KO, then I would have switched to Vaporeon. Heatmore, really interesting Pokemon. But has like a lot... very interesting that he brought it against my team, just because like it does have quite a few losses. I did bring my Ninetales, so it kind of made sense. And yeah, his team consists of Alolan, Ninetales, Umbreon, Nidoqueen, which are like kind of like the staple 3. Vaporeon, which is just like another water user, Heatmore, and Lanoon. So I'm gonna lead with Nidoqueen, and let's see how we do. A little bit of... So not a terrible situation for me either. So as you can see, these poison jabs are absolutely chunking away at Heatmore. I do want to be conscious that the fire spins are doing more, are going to cumulatively do more damage. So I don't want this Heatmore to get too boosted. So I try to scare it away with Vaporeon. And he comes in with Alolan Ninetales, which I'm totally fine with. I have quite a bit of energy advantage, so I'm going to be able to spam away quite a bit of Aqua Tails. And I don't think this Aqua Tail would KO, but let's see if he puts up a shield. He does. It would, like, I would obviously KO with the water guns subsequently afterwards. And he's like down to no shields, and I'm at 2 shields, and his Heatmore is almost KO'd. And I'm going to shield just because this Psyshock would actually do quite a bit of damage. And I do charm it down, do poison jab it down. Comes with Lanoon. And I switch out to, I don't know why I didn't just Earthquake that Lanoon, to be honest. But I'm like really good position. He goes for Dig here. I actually think Grass Knot would be the spirit. There's not like a win scenario for him here right now anyways. But certainly 2 Grass Knots would have made it closer. And I'm going to go for... And you'll see Umbreon does a really good job against Lanoon, just because those Shadow Claws are resisted, so they don't do very much damage. And he goes for, again, for the Power Up Punch. And just going to hit the Foul Play. And then I'm just going to farm down or feint down this Lanoon with Snarls. So we're able to take match number 2 in round number 2. So right now I'm 2-0. We're going to do one more battle. And I decide to lead with Alolan Ninetales, followed by Umbreon and Vaporeon in the back. And I get the lead. I actually told him, because what had happened was we went into the battle, he aired out, and then I saw the lead, then a game crashed on my side. So then I just told him at the beginning, I was like, oh, okay, I saw your lead. It was in Umbreon, so you might want to switch because mine's going to be mine is a Alolan Ninetales. But then he stayed around a little bit longer, which I thought was a little bit odd strategy. But some people like to stay up so they can build up a little bit of energy and utilize that a little bit later. So, in pretty good position right now. And it goes for the Aqua Tail. And I'm going to farm him down. And then I thought his Alolan Ninetales would come back. His Umbreon would come back out, but it ends up being Alolan Ninetales, which is perfectly fine. And I don't want to switch lock myself, so I do let him charm me down. And because I have like a very good matchup in the back, I do just go in with Vaporeon versus Alolan Ninetales and try to take it out with water guns. And unfortunately not able to take it out, but it's totally fine. I still have a shield, which I'm going to need to utilize it because I don't want this Umbreon to hit me with 2 Last Resorts and potentially KO me, and I go for Ice Beam. You know, a Psyshock actually does less damage than a Charm, which actually is pretty crazy. The only time like you would ever want to do it is like in case like they're like, I don't know, you can't even think of a time you would actually want to do that. I guess like when you want to KO the Umbreon and you don't want their like Snarl damage to be applied. So anyways, so that was round number 2. Now we're going to move on to round number 3 against Straw Hat Luffy. Actually a new trainer, just started PvPing last month, but has like improved a ton over the last little bit. So he's actually he actually came into last month's tournament and didn't have things double move. So I told him like, you should start grinding more, get a Go Plus and start catching Pokemon so you can double move. So in this matchup, it's okay for me. I am gonna QSA, and I do shield this Earth Power. I probably didn't necessarily need to, and I do get the energy advantage from QSA, and it allows me to hit this foul play pretty quickly. And I'm gonna switch out into Alolan Ninetales, really hoping to hit the Aqua Tail before he switched out, but he did like a really smart switch, understanding that I like to safe switch into Vaporeon a lot. So I'm going to let this go just because I do have the chance to. I was actually hoping to get the Aqua Tail off, but I couldn't, especially since I have a barrel in the back. And I'm going to switch out into Umbreon. And Umbreon again has a very positive matchup against Lanoon. I don't want to get hit by too many, so I am gonna hit this foul play. And he has Nidoqueen, so I'm gonna hit the foul play. And then he shields, and then I'm gonna switch out into Barbarrel, hoping to KO it. And this matchup's okay. I'm up a shield. Barbarrel, I think, loses slightly in the one shield, with one shield advantage to Umbreon, but I have like a Umbreon in the back, so it should be perfectly fine. He goes for the Dark Pulse, and I go for the Surf. So I was pretty lucky that I was able to get it off because I think we end up in a CMP. Nope, he goes for the Dark Pulse here, and at this point in time, I'm pretty sure he's running like he has Foul Play Dark Pulse. So I actually risk it here that he doesn't have Last Resort, and I was correct in my prediction. So I'm gonna go up to 2, which in this case would be 7 snarls would allow me to get off 2 because he had like an Earthquake ready, and then he was 1 snarl away from another Foul Play. I do think the matchup would have been closer if he actually chose to double Foul Play my B-Barrel instead of going double Dark Pulse, because I ended up costing him like 10 more energy when it would have been enough. So very close game number 1, and I was able to luckily pull this off. And then we go into this B-Barrel matchup, and it's like a little bit weird. So he hits the charge move right now, which makes me think that he doesn't have a Hyper Fang. He might have Hyper Beam, for example. But if you don't have the charge move, then you should be like going up to it at least. And this again doesn't feel like a Hyper Fang. So he goes for the Surf, which is I'm still ahead of him on health. So I'm going to take Switch Advantage and be able to put a little bit of pressure onto the next Pokemon, which is Lanoon. Lanoon is going to do double resisted Shadow Claws. So that's why I'm able to get off so many Water Guns. Almost enough to get off another Surf, which would have been pretty bad for him. So I'm in a pretty good situation right now. He switches out to Nidoqueen. I'm going to switch out into Vaporeon. I have 2 shields. I think I utilize one of the shields here, just because Earth Power would do a decent amount. And I'm going to go for the Aqua Tail. Put a lot of pressure onto this Nidoqueen. And I'm hoping to get one more off, but he unfortunately beats me to it. So, man, sometimes like I get into these like CMP ties and I'm like, oh god, I should just farm down and not risk it. Obviously, you look like a genius when you do get it off before your opponent, but it ends up being like too costly for me. It didn't matter in this match, but it certainly mattered in some later matchups. And I switch out to Umbreon to KO the Lanoon. And we take game number 2 in round number 3. And now we're going to play out our third match. And let's see how I approach it. And I think I go double water in this case. Yeah, I go double water and with an Umbreon. And this matchup's interesting because in the one shield, Bibarel actually takes the matchup from Alolan Ninetales, but actually loses this matchup with Granbull. But in the vice versa with, so he actually does a charge move here. He probably should just charm me down, but that's quite alright, so I'll take it. And then I switch out into, and he switches out into Ninetales, which I found pretty weird. And I'm like kind of switch locked here, so I'm like, okay, I might as well just switch. And I'm not going to shield, and this is going to be a Solar Beam. This is actually I think my first time letting a Solar Beam successfully go through. So I'm just going to farm up a little bit of energy and hit this Ninetales with some snarls and some foul plays. And he comes into Granbull, which I'm going to be able to KO if he doesn't shield. And he does shield, which actually puts me in a little bit of a predicament. Certainly doing quite a bit of damage. And then he has Lanoon in the back. But I'm in a very good position. If he would have had Umbreon, maybe this would have been, a little closer. But and I'm going to be able to hit one more Aqua Tail before he can even get off his charge move. And my round 4 opponent was Kukeni, who's certainly a very well sim trainer. Like he always comes up with some like really interesting lines, and he actually is a very similar team to me, except for I have mine and he has Skunk Tank. Which is what I wish I would have brought, because I kind of miss using Skunk Tank. So in this, because he has no electric, I feel like pretty comfortable about going with double water. The only main thing that this double water is really afraid of is Umbreon. So that's why I brought Alolan Ninetales. And I end up in a very negative matchup. So I do switch out into Vaporeon. And he switches out into Skunk Tank. And normally I'm okay in this matchup. And he goes for the Sludge Bomb. Oh, he goes for the Crunch. Which I shouldn't have shielded. I would have had to shield one of these anyway, so. And he goes for the crunch here, which actually does quite a bit of damage. And then I was really hoping to water gun down, but it wasn't going to happen. So I do just take switch advantage, and I really needed switch advantage, especially since and I don't. Oh yeah, I mirrored, and then he does a really good job at farming energy here. And then this is ultimately, I don't know if this. Let me see here. Actually, I gotta take a look. So he gets the defense drop, and my B barrel is just again absolutely leveled by this defense drop. So if we take a look, I wasn't sure if I would have survived the. Let's see. So the poison jabs, what it did? No, they would have did a pretty good amount. 40 plus the earth power at 89. So it wouldn't have mattered anyways, but it just felt demoralizing and ended up losing by 1 HP. So I made a huge mistake there. What I should have done was put the lone Ninetales at a little bit lower health, then did the Psy Shock to try to KO it. Instead of like letting him get a charm through and giving some energy. So that was a mistake on my part, but really well played match. That farming and with Nidoqueen giving him that just like that slight energy advantage was really good for him. And I'm not sure what I'm doing here. I think I'm debating. Thinking for a while. I really should have cut this part. All right, so I'm gonna go double water and go Nidoqueen. And he leads with Vaporeon, which I'm fine. It's easier to play this matchup as Barrel than it is Vaporeon, and he comes with Skunk Tank. And because I tried to QSA there, I had to do it, and that's totally fine with me. And I should have shielded here, or I don't know, and or tried to risk the. So again, I went switch advantage, but it's not a great situation for me because his Vaporeon has energy. And this is where I actually thought, I really wish I would have brought the Umbreon instead, but it's quite alright. And he goes to the last resort. And I go for the last resort on my side. But I'm like in a really bad position because he's certainly the energy advantage. And I make a huge mistake here by not shielding. And because now I'm in like Aqua Tail range, so I'm like, okay, I gotta put some pressure onto this Vaporeon. He does shield here, recognizing that what he has, his Vaporeon is going to be super valuable. So I do like panic switch out of here, mostly because I need to build up energy. And so I do catch him so that he doesn't get very much on the charm. And this is where if I had Stone Edge, I definitely would have won this match. Because Stone Edge against the Ninetales would have did. Actually, let's see here. No, actually, maybe it doesn't. It does 80. It does. Anyways, I lose that match. I lose that round. Really well played by him. Like came down to the very last wire. So, anyways, I actually would have been able to KO if I had Stone Edge because it would did 9 more damage than Earthquake, or I could have risked. No, it wouldn't have made sense. But he definitely outplayed me in that matchup. And in this third matchup, he's like, anyways, what do I do here? I lose by like 1 HP back to back. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened. I really needed to like play almost perfectly to try to like win out those matches. I definitely should have stayed in a little bit longer on Vaporeon against his Vaporeon and let him farm me down, because I doubt that he would have been able to get to another Aqua Tail, and then I would have like just a sliver more health on my Nidoqueen, and like I just needed like literally one more poison jab to win out that match. So doing the switch was costly to me at the end, especially since each poison jab does 7 damage. Anyway, so I'm in this matchup, and he switches out to Skunk Tank. This is where, QSA can be slightly dangerous. So I end up doing like maybe like 8 snarls or something like that, which ends up being slightly more than 100 energy. And so I let this Sludge Bomb go through, and he lets another Poison Jab go through. So I'm not in a great situation right now. And I was like, there's no way he's at another one already. And he is, so that was stupid of me. So I ended up losing switch advantage. And I don't know why I didn't go into Vaporeon, because I could have beat him to the charge move. Oh, I didn't come to Vaporeon because I didn't want to show that I had a Nidoqueen counter in the back. But because I stayed in, I probably showed it anyways. So he comes in with Nidoqueen. And he comes in, shows a little Ninetales. I don't know why I did. I don't know. Okay, so I go for another Aqua Tail here. And I just barely missed this Aqua Tail, and I really needed that Aqua Tail. I don't think it would have mattered anyways. Well, it might have, like, let's see here. Aqua Tail it doesn't matter, like this game's pretty much over, right? So Aqua Tail would have did 66 damage, which would be less than half, so it wouldn't have made a difference anyways. And he goes for the Earthquake. I probably would have tried to feint him down. Anyways, so he played extremely well. So GG, Cool Kenny. So I go against this next opponent, Kid Fearless 330, who's using Alolan Ninetales, Umbreon, Alolan Marowak, Vaporeon, Shelgon, and Skunk Tank. So I tried to switch out to catch the Aqua Tail, and he switches out into. I probably should have just went for the Psyshock there, but he goes for some pretty aggressive switching, and he lands the Sludge Bomb, which actually does quite a bit of damage to Vaporeon, and he shields. And I really need to get off this this Aqua Tail, but he did a really great job at switching. just barely win switch advantage. And I'm not able to get off the... not able to get off that Aqua Tail there. So many times I just die with a little bit of on the charge move. So I do let this go through. Ends up being Aqua Tail bait. And I go for the Surf. This is stupid of me. Like, really dumb of me. I have no idea why I just didn't go for the Hyper Fang. Being way too aggressive. And he goes for the Aqua Tail. And I end up not having enough health to... I think he ends up shielding this. He does. And I thought my lone Ninetales had way more health, but actually has almost 0 health left. So his aggressive switching, like, I actually thought I had this match. I was like, okay, I got this. And then I realized, like, I really should have shielded one of those Aqua Tails. He probably would have Psy-Shocked me at some point in time, but it would have, or I should have just Hyper Fanged his Vaporeon. And then I would have had more health. And then I could have like Hyper Fanged his Ninetales, or I should have went for Hyper Fang. I don't know. Doesn't matter. So, I think he had a shield left. So, did he have a shield left? He had a shield left when I went for the Surf. Yeah, he must have. I should have went for Hyper Fang, and then either force his shield or take it down. Anyway, so I go for the Umbreon mirror match in game number 2 and round number 5. So I hit the last resort. So I do go for the additional energy to try to win this matchup. And I'm definitely way ahead on energy. So he's going to hit me with another last resort. So I'm like 2 snarls ahead at this point in time. So what I should have done was I should have went for a foul play there. Which so stupid I didn't. And because then that would have put me at least a little bit closer. And then I ended up fainting with this foul play again, which would have made, like, at least allowed me to be a little closer. So I do shield. And I make a huge mistake. I debated becoming Vaporeon or Nidoqueen. So he goes for the charge move. I'm hoping that this is just a crunch, but it ends up being Sludge Bomb, which actually does a lot of damage to me. And I shouldn't have shielded this, but it didn't really matter. He had the match in the bag. He had a Alolan Marowak. So if I would have went in reverse, he might have still got this because he potentially could have Shadow Balled me anyways. So he goes for the Shadow Ball, and this matchup's pretty much a wrap. So definitely not my best outing right now. And we move on to the third match. And I decided to just go double water. Or did I switch it? I think I actually ended up switching it. No. I don't know what I'm doing here. So I lead with Umbreon. And this is a positive matchup for me. And he swaps out 2 Skuntank. So I'm going to let this Skunk Tank hit me with a Sludge Bomb. And I'm not going to shield. And then I'm going to switch out into Vaporeon, hoping that I can hit the Aqua Tail beforehand, which I do. End up shielding this Crunch, which I really should know it was a Crunch, and I make a stupid mistake here. I end up getting a CMP tie. I should have just fainted down, just because there's going to be another Crunch, but I end up losing that CMP tie, so I was like, in frustration, but that's sometimes how it rolls. If you get it, then you look like a genius. If you don't, then it's unfortunate. And because I didn't choose to farm down, then I didn't realize I hit the charge move. I don't shield this. Goes for the Aqua Tail. Goes for the second Aqua Tail, and so here I knew he's gonna switch, and then I tried to hit the switch window, and it didn't go through. But what I should have done was I should have just did a last resort there. And not that they would have changed his match very much at all, because I doubt like last resort wouldn't have done that much health anyways, and it would have been like really close. But then he would have had another Mon in the back. So I go in round number 6 against Garrett 34, who's rocking a very similar team to mine, except for instead of using instead of using Barbarrel, he's using Alolan Marowak. So I lose the lead, so I immediately switch. He switches into Minun. Which I'm okay with. And I think I do shield this. And I do want to win switch advantage. Especially when you lost the lead. It's like very important to dictate switch advantage. So I am going to shield. And just try to farm this down. I'm just waiting for the next Pokemon to come in. Ends up being a Vaporeon, so I'm going to last resort this Vaporeon. And he shields. And he doesn't want to risk getting hit by another charge move, so he decides to Aqua Tail down, which I'm fine with. I'm going to come back in with Umbreon. I'm just waiting for the Ninetales to come out. And here comes the Ninetales. And I go for the Surf. And I'm going to farm it down. And then he goes for the Aqua Tail here, which is the right idea to try to take out my Barbarrel, but I end up surviving and hit it with Surf. And I'm in a pretty comfortable situation right now, so I go for the Foul Play. And able to take it out. So I lead with Nidoqueen, hoping to catch the Ninetales or the Minun. I catch the Ninetales, so I'm in a very positive situation right now. He comes into Vaporeon. I switch out into Umbreon. Which, like, to be honest, I can auto switch into Umbreon once I see the Ninetales. And I'm going to switch into Umbreon. to go for the foul play. And I go for back-to-back, preventing some water guns from going off. And I'm racing to the charge move, and I can definitely survive this Aqua Tail. And I go for the foul play in the CMP tie. He ends up shielding, but now he's like down 2 shields to 0, and he switches out into Minun, and then and he's gonna hit me with a Thunderbolt, and I'm in like a very good position right now. He still has his Vaporeon, which has a decent amount of health, so I get the idea for sure to try to bait out my Nidoqueen. But in this situation, like, I'm in a pretty positive matchup. And I go for the Earthquake to do as much damage as I can. And then I Poison Jab his down. So I do take round number 6 and finish the tournament at 4-2. We still have one more match. So I'm just going to show that match and then talk a little bit about my team. And he said he's coming with a spicy team, so this ends up being not a really good situation for him at all. It's not really a harder counter, so I decide to... He comes into Minun, so I'm like, oh, you know what? I probably can get off 2 surfs here. So I might as well, just because Babero has such a positive matchup in the back. And then I switch out into Umbreon just to tank these charge moves. And he goes for the Thunderbolt. And I'm going to hit the foul play. And even if there's another Thunderbolt, it's totally fine. And he switches out into Nidoqueen. So I think he ends up like having a not very positive matchup against a lot of my team. And I do have to shield this Earth Power that's coming through. I probably should have switched to Vaporeon just because Babero has a much more positive matchup against Alolan Marowak than Vaporeon does, just because it would double resist the Shadow Ball. He goes with Minun, hoping to get off another charge move. And then I think I'm just going to shield here and then fade down with Surf. So I do take it here. So yeah, and then finish 4-2, 12 wins, 6 losses. Got 3 out in both my losses. And if I were to change my team, I would. Drawing double water was fun, and it was certainly useful at times. I didn't utilize it as much as I should have or could have. And then I would definitely take up Minun because I just couldn't find a matchup where I thought it was that great. As you can see, like him switching in Minun on Babero, you think that would be a great matchup. But without the resistances and being too squishy, it's just not good enough. So I'd probably consider Skunk Tank. A lot of people use that safe switch very effectively against me, so that's something that I would definitely try out. I am going to be casting Guan87, who ended up winning the tournament, going 6-0. He had a really interesting double charm Alolan Sandslash lineup, which I thought was really effective. So looking forward to taking a look at those matches. Again, thank you for watching this video. Special thank you to all my patrons who support me. in my journey in this, because it does take a lot of time, effort, and resources to do this. So I appreciate everyone's support on Patreon, who watch, subscribe, like, and comment on this video. So if you guys want to see more tournament videos from myself or from others, let me know down in the comment section below, or tell me what teams or what matchups you're really liking. So I'm going to leave it there. If you guys like this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see everyone in the next video.